I think the easiest way to try to explain what I did and what happened and how I solved it is probably with a little video. So I'll show you first how my class is set up. So the way I set it up is in my course content. I have folders for each week, and they show up each week. I sort of have a master class that I do make all the changes on. And these things are, they're basically set up, but I'm going to tweak it, right? And so this is where the problem comes in. Now, in this particular module, when I click on it, my students go through this, and I'm just going to make this a little less stuff. They go through this overview, and then they have the lab handouts, and then I tell them what they need to know, and they have a lesson and some other jazz, then what they need to see in terms of demonstrations, and then they come to activities. And the activities for this week, there's a quiz, then there's the Labster activity, right? And I always call this Labster activity because one of the things I've learned is you have to be very consistent. And this time, I'm giving them the stuff they're submitting is going to come in as partially the questions that's going to come in as a quiz for ease of grading, and then partially it's going to come in as a discussion board. But the thing you really want to pay attention to is the Labster activity, right? So the Labster activity is in the gradebook. So if I click on Full Grade Center, you can see the Labster activity, and I selected the experimental design one here, and I want to actually make this visible to students. So you'll see the experimental design one, and it's right here. Now, so this is my 19Z1. This is my online class, and I'm using it sort of as my master activity class. So as I'm switching to the other class, I'm going to stop this recording for a second. So now I'm in my second class section, and while I initially had this folder here and I had the Labster activity in it, and it was completely visible in my Blackboard gradebook, what I did is because I made lots of changes in this folder, I sort of, instead of moving over each individual item that I changed, because I made little changes and I couldn't quite figure out what all I changed, but there were lots of changes, and because I made lots of changes, I just copied the folder as a whole over from my online class into this section. And when you click on the folder, you see the same kind of structure, right, from all the other ones. And when you see in the activities, you see there's the Labster activity and all the other activities. But when I go to the gradebook, the Labster activity isn't there. And it's just not there. And the way I fixed it, because what happened when you copy it over, apparently in each class, the Labster activity is associated with that gradebook. And when you copy it over, you copy the Labster activity over and the link and all that kind of stuff, but the gradebook association gets lost. And so to fix that, you go back into your Labster activity, just like you did it the first time around. You click on the arrow down and you click on Edit. And when you click on Edit, you see this here. And you had initially, when you initially activated this, you set this enable evaluation right here. You set it to yes. And so you're going to have to redo that again. So if you copy the link over into a new class, for whatever reason, you're going to have to reestablish the association with your gradebook. So just click yes. Tell it points possible 10, and tell it whatever the due date is going to be. If you are like me And here, one of the fun things about due dates, by the by, I discovered if you go into the due date, let me go see if I can delete this again. Let me delete this. If you go into the due date and you just click on that that button first, it'll give you the date of today and the time of this moment. However, or it'll give you at least the time of this moment. However, if you go into the calendar and select your date there, it gives you an 11:59 p.m. So be very careful what you're doing, because Blackboard reacts differently. Tidbits. And then you click submit. And then lo and behold, it shows up in the Grade Center. Now, the way I run my Grade Center, I actually use grading, whatever they call it. Hang on, I gotta find the word first. Grading. I use grading periods, and so it's not in a grading period, so you can't assign that. You have to assign that by hand. So I assign the grading period. I say submit, and then lo and behold, here it is. Here's my Labster activity in my gradebook. And so if you copy your Labster activities over for whatever reason into a new class, you lose the gradebook association. Now, this shouldn't happen if you don't do anything, right? But this is apparently a feature. I hope that helps.